And I'm going to share my screen, and we're going to see a short video showing the gallery, and then we're going to go through each person's piece and do short artist steps. All right, let me go to the next one, maybe. Here we go. Okay. All right. Here we
Sue, we didn't think about music.
Next time. Next time.
I can't, I can't hear anything. Hello? Hello?
Hey, Linda, the video, we're just showing the video now.
Oh, okay. So there's
Yeah.
nothing happening. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay.
I'll mute myself.
Is the video showing?
Yes, it
Yes.
is.
Okay, I don't see it.
Gallery view. If you do gallery view, you should see it, which you pick from the upper right.
What? Okay.
There may be two screens. One is the video and one is gallery view. So if you hover over the little camera icon for Zoom, you'll see two options. One will be the video and one will be all of the Hollywood squares.
So here we're just seeing a couple of exterior shots of the gallery.
Here we're looking at some of the beautiful.
I think that's it. No, actually, it's going to go on.
Oh, you gotta. Do you want to go from the top to the bottom? We should hang that. Moving on, we have a beautiful fused glass panel, fused glass plate, fused glass jewelry, and stained glass sculpture, along with fused glass and jewelry. More jewelry. Here we have fused glass panel, a stained glass necklace. Then we've got fused glass plates and panels.
All right, I'm going to stop that there because I think we're looping now.
Right.
All right, so Michaela Borghese, are you with us? If you are, unmute. see. I don't see Michaela. Anybody know if she's around? All right. Well, this is Michaela's piece, The Rose.
I think it's gorgeous.
Yeah. Anybody? You're welcome to comment on the pieces. Just unmute yourself.
I love the translucent quality of the leaves of the flower petals.
Yeah.
All
Yeah,
right.
that's cast glass.
Let's see. Sorry.
Is the hand glass too?
No, the hand is cast iron. She actually got it years ago and finally got to use it in this show. It weighs a ton. Very stable.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
How much is it?
You can look on the show program, my dear, for prices.
All right. Next piece by Michaela. Looks like this is a mosaic.
Yeah, this is a fun little mosaic piece. It's about, I want to say, 7 inches tall, maybe, including that stand. It is so darling. Those are all brushstroke glass pieces that are the feathers. And then she used glass beads for all the detail work. And I don't know how she made those feet. It's very cool.
Do we know what the substrate is underneath all the beads?
I think it's paper mache.
Okay, moving on. Beryl, are you with us? Beryl Brenner?
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Before I talk about the piece, just two quick comments. I promise to be brief. The first is I want to thank all of you guys who worked so hard on putting this together. It really is outstanding. I'm so proud to be part of it. I'm so proud to be part of this group. You really do amazing work. I mean, you're one of America's jewels, if you will, for the glass world. And I want to thank you and get that out of the way right out of the gate. And the second thing is I also want to thank you for being so welcoming to us out-of-towners. I'm New York. You're very welcoming. You're not so inclusive that you don't see the value of having us join the group, and it's greatly appreciated. So let me just say that. Okay, just a quick comment about this. Obviously, it's a fused glass piece. It's called Desert Mountain. I've always, my entire life, lived in New York City, which is a long life by now. But in 2015, I was on a trip actually in Israel, and unfortunately my husband had a very bad accident there. He lost his leg. So we were forced to spend 3 months in the country. And maybe because I've never lived anyplace else or whatever the reason is, I'm a psychologist, I have been doing quite a bit of work on the subject of what the country looks like. We know it's desert and we know it's Mediterranean. There's also the Golan in the north, which is greenery and so forth. But it happens to be an absolutely beautiful country. So this is called Desert Mountain. I don't think people usually understand the nuances of the desert until you actually see it there. But the desert varies. It's not just a bunch of sand. It actually is way more nuanced. The dunes almost appear wave-like. The time of the day alters the look of the desert. There's many aspects of it. And so what you're seeing here with the French vanilla, some of you may recognize the color French vanilla from the bullseye palette. You're seeing almost like mountain-like structures with the dunes and so forth, and hence the title Desert Mountain.
And I think we have a detail. There's a detail for you.
Mm-hmm. It's different colors too. Now, this is actually not about the desert. This is actually more about, when the dust settles, is more about the worldwide corona crisis. You can see that, as we all know, glass is made of silicates. That's what glass is. At the end of the day, if we all grind it down, that's what we come back to. It starts in sand and it ends in sand. So you see at the top of the piece, the sand kind of, the red forms, the sand, it starts emerging. And it's almost metaphorical because we're really in uncharted territory for everybody. Nobody here lived through previous pandemics of this nature or of this size or scope. We're really, we're in a new world, to say the least. And we've seen things going on in our own country as well as around the world that are new to us and different to us. Some of them we question, some of them we think are good. Actually, it all depends on vantage point. But I think one thing for sure is that when the dust settles, we will be in a new world. We will be in a new society. And the question becomes, what happens? What does it look like? What does it mean for each of us? So that's what this piece is about. It really relates to the pandemic. And I thought it would be nice to interpret that in a glass venue.
And there's a secondary view of that piece. Thank you so much, Meryl. Does anybody have any comments or questions?
Moving on.
All right. Christine Burris. You here with us, Christine? I don't hear her coming up. So this is a collection of pieces that she made together to go as a set.
I will just say this is stunning in person. Having tried to photograph it, it's just gorgeous.
And this is a second piece by her. And Regine Camacho, I saw your face.
Yes, hello everybody. And I also want to thank you so much for setting up the show and for doing so much. And I feel sometimes I feel bad that I cannot participate more, but just the time doesn't allow me for the moment. So I hope in the future it will change. But for right now, at least I like to participate what I can, but thank you so much for all of you for doing that, doing a great job. So this piece is called Joy. And I just came across after, reading the theme for the show, I came across a quote from William Pickens, "Living together is an art." And I just thought, well, it's really true, because if you see the one flower, it's pretty, one flower is beautiful, but in a landscape, it can, be overlooked really easily, can be swallowed up by, weeds, greenery, whatever. But if you have a bunch of flowers standing there, then it can make a difference. And I just thought that's, part of our life as well. So alone, we are just an individual, but we cannot do as much as we can do when we stand together and live together. And each one, brings their own character, brings their own color. We still can, these flowers, they can move individually. It's just attached to a flower wire, and then I drilled holes in the glass, so it's fixed, but it can move. And so I had, that in mind. We can move as individuals. We can bring our characters, our colors in, whatever, even our burden. But then we stand together and we, make an artwork out of it.
It's fun. It's a great piece. I really love it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I love the fact that it's both geometric and then it's got the round circle flowers, and also that you can see the shadow of the flowers on the back of the piece is terrific. Gives it a whole lot of dimension.
Yeah, I like that yeah, you get another dimension since you can bend them forward or however you like it, and then with the shadows, yeah, I agree. Thank you.
And here's your second piece.
And that's the second piece, and I mean it goes in the same direction. There are two parts, and it should show, you know, the division. We are so divided in race, religion, politics, opinions, you know, everything. But then if we overcome that gap, if we can mend, and I named it mending the piece. So if we can overcome the gaps and, you know, mend it together, then it's even, you know, it's more beautiful. Then we can make it a whole. And yeah, if we are just, you know, standing together, mending together, then we can create a true artwork and change the world for the better.
Any other comments?
I love the idea of this piece and how you've executed it. It's really wonderful. I like your other one too, but this one really strikes me.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, moving on. Ann Clark, are you with us?
I'm here. It says Dave by my video, but that's my husband's account with Google anyway. I'm Ann. I'm here. This is wonderful. Thank you so much for doing this. I've been in other Zoom things before like this, but they've never been this good. This is fantastic. Thank you. The pieces, there are lofty things that you think about when you create art, but I have to say that when I started into this, I was really thinking about trying to use up small scraps of glass. I mean, I don't want to be, that's what put me down this road. This particular piece, Primrose, it's a reverse painting on glass, which you're probably aware of how this is done, but you take clear glass and you do the painting with stained glass paints. You fuse it every time you paint it. So with the black lines, you paint it, then you fuse, and then with the shading, you paint, and then fire, excuse me. And finally, when you get done with it, you flip it over the painted piece onto a solid base and fuse the whole thing together, so that the painting is never on the top and the bowl is always food safe. So I've been doing it with big pieces of glass with a full top and a full bottom, but never with smaller pieces until these two pieces that I have in the show. This is Primroses, and what others have said about the wanting to make a piece that is joyful, you know, this is really right at the beginning of 2020 in March or so, when my primroses were coming up, and it was right after we've been kind of locked down. I just went out on a foggy morning and took some photographs of my primroses, and this is what became of it. And it just seemed like a very happy piece, and it was, it made me happy to create it during that time.
Right. Next piece.
And this piece, it's called Nodes Bowl. It was actually made prior to pandemic, maybe about a month or so, like February of 2020, before the pandemic. But the idea in my mind was that, again, use up small pieces of glass, but I wanted to have some kind of image of the neural connections that go on in the brain, how they're sort of complicated, and one item can contact with many other items. It wasn't until after we were in the middle of the pandemic that I looked at it and I began to see it as human connections rather than just neural connections, and that the importance of having connections with other human beings, because that, you know, a lot of that natural social life had been cut off. So that's what's going on here. Again, it was reverse painting on these ones that have the white who I did the painted on.
Awesome. Any other comments?
Thank you.
Thanks so much, Anne. Shona.
Hi, everyone. I don't do this very often, so I'm a bit nervous. I've been working in mosaic since about 2015, and so it's not really that long. And I took a standard class in just basic stained glass mosaics, and then I realized that I was cutting smaller and smaller and smaller, and I said, "What is this?" And I realized that there was a world of micro mosaic. And I'm originally from India. And as we fly over to India, we fly sometimes over Afghanistan. And when I look down, I can see the mountains. And I love nature. And all of that coming together kind of inspired this piece. So it's got 24 karat gold smalty, which is the gold that you see. And then I love working in gradations. So it's got the yellow on the top going down to the brown at the bottom. And it's set in a sterling silver plated rectangular bezel.
Shona, what glue did you use for your piece? It's beautiful.
So for this one, I use the Italian micro mosaic putty, but sometimes I also use epoxy sculpt. It's really hard to get a good photograph of micro mosaics and mosaics in general. So I did my best with my little photo box thing.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. And this piece, I wasn't really happy with the bezels that I was finding in the market. And I thought I'd experiment with metal clay. And I bought a kiln. And as you'll know, as you get to know me, the rest is history. So I'm now also into fused glass. This is, I call this the Copper Garden pendant, and it's made with copper clay. And it's got a dichroic glass cabochon in the center. So I'm constantly evolving and trying to get new skills under my belt. And I love combining different media in my work. And I want to thank everyone for the opportunity, especially Sue and Jane. You've been wonderful and really gracious when I didn't bring any stands to hang my jewelry. So thank you.
I'm so impressed with the detail in these pieces. Really, I can't even imagine putting those small little tiny pieces together.
Thank you. I thought I was going blind, and then I realized I just needed readers.
Anybody else want to comment? Thanks so much, Shona.
Thank you.
Tama's not with us today. She's visiting her grandkids, I think, in Seattle. But here's her first piece, Good Morning Sunshine. And a detail showing that little insert. This is her second piece. And a detail of that fish. All right. Margaret, are you still with us? Are you with us?
I am. I just had to unmute. Well, as everybody has said, thank you very much to all the people who worked so hard on this exhibit. Greatly appreciated. It's great to be coming out of this difficult time for all of us. Thinking about the theme of the show, of course, largely inspired by nature for much of my work, whether it's just a moment, an instant, an image, a walk in nature. This is called Splash Vessel, and I was trying to capture that moment when you toss a stone in the water and the water comes up in a splash. So the blues and greens to represent the different watercolors. It's a drop vessel. And also inspired by nature, I've done a couple of hikes on glaciers in Iceland and then in Alaska more recently, and very taken by that experience and the vulnerability we have with the glaciers melting. So that notion of, as you walk along, all of a sudden there's a little crack, and the crack can be narrow at the top and wide at the bottom, and you don't know what's down there. So a little darkness at the bottom, and just try and capture the sense of that crevice, as the title explains. This is pressed glass. So layers that were pressed and worked and then cold worked.
This piece also, it's beautiful. It looks like ceramic. I love it when you can take glass and make it look like another medium. It's really fun.
It has that non-shiny surface from sandblast. Great. Thank you so much, everyone. I regret I'm going to have to sign off. I'm with family who have already started Sunday dinner, so I'm going to have to say goodbye, and thank you again to everyone.
Thanks. Enjoy it.
Thank you.
Marilee. Marilee, are you with us today? I thought I saw her name. No, this is her piece, Lupines and Moss. I think we have a detail showing it's a nice thick piece. And a jewelry piece. Catherine's piece, she's not going to be with us today. A detail. And her second piece, pinwheels. Alan, are you with us today?
Yes, yes. This is a piece called Stormy Seas, and basically what it is it's a blown glass vase. The outside of the vase has multicolored frit on it that's been combed, and then it's been subjected to a reducing flame. That basically, some of the glass pigments on the surface of the vase have silver oxide in them, and a low oxygen flame basically brings out the silver to the surface. So, when you see it up front, it's some portions of it are mirror-like, and it kind of glows. So it's a fun kind of thing to do, and that's the detail of it. But as you can see, it's kind of very carefully combed with tweezers after the vase has been blown.
Wow.
Next. Okay, this is just a piece called Multicolor Vase. It's a simple tile pickup, from a strip construction piece. So it kind of is an interesting way of looking through the glass, and the color, the alternating transparent and opal colors kind of bring out the opal, the brightness of the opal. That's it.
Alan, I really love your Stormy Seas.
You're most welcome.
Is that steel blue that you used in the Stormy Seas that caused it to turn that silver?
Well, these are colors made by Reichenbach, which Kugler, which don't really have analogs, but basically a bunch of the turquoise colors. The steel blue does, I think, have some silver oxide in it, but any pigment with silver oxide does this kind of thing.
It's Suzanne. Alan, as not a blower, can you explain, you said you combed it with tweezers, like how much time do you have to do that? I would think it would be cooling off so quickly that you would have time to comb.
Well, the idea is you can, since you're blowing, you can reheat the glass in the glory hole and use the tweezers as much as you want until you've got all the twists that you want there.
So you just comb and heat
Yeah.
until you're happy. Oh.
And basically what you're doing is you're grabbing the glass with tweezers and just twisting it. You just kind of poke it with the tweezers, and it assumes that shape, and then finally you kind of messed up the shape a little bit, so you blow it out to smooth it out.
It's amazing. It's great. Very beautiful.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. I want to say about that piece, it has so much texture. I think you could sort of see it in your photograph, but in person, glass doesn't have a lot of texture, but Alan's piece has lots of texture. You almost want to touch it, but we tell people don't touch, but it's almost like that.
Yeah, the key thing is a lot of glass blowers put the frit, on a bubble, and then they encase the bubble in more glass, and that gets rid of the texture. And the process that I use there, and it actually uses quite a bit of frit, is to actually fully blow out the piece, and then roll it in frit that gets melted and twisted and stretched.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Trish, Kent, are you with us?
She's out in California with her son and grandchild.
Okay. So too bad she's not here to tell us a little more about her piece, but it's pretty self-explanatory, really, in terms of today's political climate.
It has a lot of dimension as well. I don't know if you can see it in that picture.
And here's her cute little pigs. All right, Jean, you're up.
I'm up.
Can I
I'm so glad we have this opportunity hearing everyone about their pieces, because explanations often make pieces even more interesting, especially, for instance, the crevasse. I liked it, but when you told me it was ice, I thought, wow, yeah, that's much better. Now I like it more. And so with mine, this is actually a mask, and I'm glad it shows up. It doesn't always show up the ear loops, so you don't know that it's a mask. During the beginning of COVID, a lot of us were making masks for friends, family, and the world. And I don't know how many dozens and dozens of masks I made out of fabric, but somehow it carried over and I did it in glass. And that's what this is.
And
it's copper foil.
And here's the R-rated version.
You want to tell them why that's Sue?
Yeah, that bust really took my breath away when I saw it the first time.
So I put the scarf over it for purposes of children.
Jean, can I say something about the piece, the jewelry piece?
Sure.
I've been a jeweler for a long time, and I really love what you've done with the double hanging, so that you have that that outside piece with the heavier pieces that pull away. I mean, very often it's hard for somebody to wear something that has big things that come down.
Yeah.
You satisfied the issue absolutely brilliantly. It's a wonderful piece.
Thank
Wonderful.
you. Yeah, my pieces tend to be pretty big, and a lot of people don't understand that I can't go small. So thank you. Yeah, it does. I do a lot of layers. I try to do a lot of layers with that, and I'm glad this hid the problem. And that was, that I did have the solution. I did not have those blue and whites that was actually suspending the mask, and I had it on the red, and it didn't hang right and it didn't look right. But as soon as I put the the ones that should be subtle, I guess they are more subtle than the other. Everything moves a lot. Thank you.
Any other comments about this piece? All right, moving on.
Okay, Brighter Days. Yeah, I just thought when I did this, it was dreary kind of, so I thought, okay, need to do flowers and brighter things, and that's why I named it after quarantine. And that's copper foil stained glass too. Yeah, thank you.
Thanks. All right, Selma, are you with us today? I think I saw your name in the list. Selma? There she, Selma, unmute yourself. Okay, let's see if, are you gonna, Selma, are you gonna speak?
Apologize. I couldn't find the button. Here I am. Sorry about that. So this was, it started out as a platter, and it really, as much as I hate to admit it, was a happy accident. I fused it twice, and the blue kind of went flowing on its own way. And of course, when I opened the kiln, I was upset. But then later, when I revisited it, I was like, wait a second, and then I held it up and I thought, this can work as a wall piece. I mean, it wasn't what the intention was, but then, and I named it Venus just because of that shape where it, like the Venus has that contrapposto type of pose, and it just reminded me of that.
Did you, is there sort of some contours in the middle of it that did you use some fiber paper or something to slip?
No, the blue, I think the fusing or the melting of the blue glass versus the lighter colored glass was just different, and it kind of just did its own shape. I mean, it was a mold that had a slump in the middle, but the blue just did its own thing. So it was just a pure surprise.
What kind of glass was it?
It's bullseye. It's those special collections with like the streaks. It's bullseye.
Well, there is variation in viscosity, and the transparents move a lot more than the opaques do, especially.
That's exactly what happened. Yep.
I think the title is perfect for it.
Yes, and I love it. It's cool.
Thank you.
Great. Thanks, Selma.
Thank you.
Sarah Pick.
Hi, all. Yes, thank you for organizing this show, Sue and Jean, and for having it as a member show. Really nice at this time. So this piece is playing around with reactive glass. I'm always fascinated by our relationship to the heavens and planets and looking up, and I come to this kind of French vanilla, different shades of blue, the different yellows. I play around with those periodically, and was just having fun, actually. So
it looks very cosmic. It's really beautiful.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Are the small circles or the medium-sized circles, are they done under pressure?
No, but I'm. It's been a while since I made it. I think that I fully fused a lot of the elements and then put them on the French vanilla.
Okay.
And I was inspired by a friend of mine who's a watercolor artist. She had actually, I bought a piece of hers, which I should show them side by side because in a way, my piece looks nothing at all like hers. The colors are different, but when she gave it to me, it's hard to tell in this picture, but I was, when I bought her piece, I thought, I've never really tried to do, communicate the whole underwater flowers in a vase and the way it looks it's hard to see it in here, but in person, there's a difference in the viscosity of the flower stems as you go down. Anyway, it looks nothing at all like my friend's watercolor, but that's what inspired me.
I want to tell you that this looks so much like a Matisse painting.
Oh.
Yeah, and I love the stripes. So awesome.
Yeah. A few people that have seen it have commented about the stripes, and that was, gosh, it's been a while since I made that, but that was combing, probably adventuring blue.
So did you combed a piece and then you worked on top of?
Yes, I combed the background. I made the elements, I made the flower buds, and then assembled it with, pulled stringer and all that, pulled glass.
No, it's really fun. Very nice.
Thank you.
All right. Sheila Rosa, are you with us today? I'm not. There we go. Oh, no, that's Linda. Sheila, are you with us today?
Can Linda has to bug out of the meeting. Becky, is it possible for her to go like zip in and zip out?
Yes, let me move forward to her.
Thank you. Thank you.
Oh. You ready?
Ready.
Okay. Hi. Thank you all so much. This was amazing. It's so well organized and so choreographed. So thank you all. This is basically my homage to the holidays, celebrating life. It's a menorah, but which is, you light on Hanukkah. But I love that during this dark period of COVID that you can just light a light whenever you want. And I'm a big candle girl. So I think that's about it. And this is a piece, of course, because of COVID and the winter, and it was miserable and we had a little snow. I just wanted to do something that was sort of a little otherworldly, perhaps. And so I had fun just creating an interesting necklace, and I like layering the different dichros and just seeing how it comes out. That's it.
All right. Thank you. We're gonna move back.
Can I have a question in for that?
Sure.
The jewelry. Some of the horizontal things look like they have flakes of dichro.
They all are pieces of dichro.
Yeah.
And a few stringers that I interspersed. You can see the white stringers, but yeah, it's all different kinds of dichro.
But I've never, did you sandblast away coatings to get those little pieces, or what was
No, you mean the one with the white, just the white with the pieces on it? It was just a piece. How did I do that one? It might have been
Foil.
foil. No, I didn't use foil. I think it was just embedded in
Okay.
that piece.
So,
It's just
so the answer is play with it and see what happens.
absolutely. That's how I do everything in my life. Whatever comes out.
All right. Thank you, Linda. Now we're going to
Thanks.
move back to go back. These are Sheila's pieces. Strong woman. Obviously, we can understand what's going on there.
This piece, I feel like, really captures the pandemic. That E.E. Cummings poem is really beautiful.
Nice. Nice piece. Doris is not going to be able to join us today.
Actually, my plans change. So if you don't mind.
Good. You are here. Excellent. Go ahead.
Yeah, I can only join those people who said thank you to the organizers. Marvelous job, beautiful exhibit, wonderful to go out there, especially this time of the year. So thanks for putting all the effort and making it all possible. This piece is actually using a lot of leftovers because I tried to clean up the studio a little bit. And so I had some striker glass, some was orange, but some of it looked pretty yellow. And I discovered when I test fused a little bit of it that it struck tremendous orange out of it. And I put it together with some leftovers, actually from Karen Minnick, and put it in a slumper that I quite like, this origami slumper. And it reminded me of visiting Big Island in Hawaii and the volcanoes. So there it became a volcano bowl. Basically, I've fired the leftovers of big chunks of glass, thick glass, in a metal rim, and then cold worked the edges and then slumped it.
Great. Thank you. And your second piece?
Second piece is a wall piece that also uses leftovers from other projects. And I've done a whole series of these poles in different color combinations it was a dreary day, some lavender tones, some blues, but dominated by the gray. And so that's what came out in the piece. A little bit of yellow in there that lightens it up, but still it's sort of a cool fall day atmosphere.
Nice. Oops, sorry, I'll go back. Any comments?
It's a very kind of ethereal piece. It really is moving when you see it in person in the gallery. It's really great.
I also like how you framed it with the black pieces around it that also have sort of the touches of blue in it. It's really nice. And I like in particular that the frame, that the pieces aren't totally connected together. It's just, it sets it off a little bit.
Yeah, thanks. As you know, you don't have full control. So even if the pieces may have been touching in the kiln, there's always an element of surprise of what comes out of it. But I just love the different textures that are in this piece. And I felt the black frame really gives it something without having to add a picture frame around it. Thank you.
Thanks, Doris. I'm so glad you were able to join us. Sherry Sullivan.
Sorry, it took me a moment to unmute. So I've made a bunch of clocks, and I decided to play around with doing asymmetric clock and a powder printed design. And this is the first in what I think will eventually be a series. and it was just fun to do. So it doesn't have any totally great meaning. I did it before I had my house fire, so I don't have as much recent stuff. So this one's a few years old.
I love the strong graphic.
Thank you. So anyhow, I started weaving and spinning during the pandemic. And I've been trying to figure out how to combine glass and weaving or whatever. And so this is my first attempt, and I've got ideas for different approaches. But basically, I fused the, I think that's warm white or French vanilla or something, with wire in it. And those three pieces are held together by pretty heavy gauge wire, probably like a 18 gauge or something. And then I spun the yarn and I wove it onto that inner structure. So, so I was worried that it wasn't enough glass for the show, but Sue talked me into keeping it in the show. So.
Darn tootin', it's a stunning piece.
What?
It's a stunning piece.
Thank you.
Gary, I just want to add one thing about the zigzag clock and your other piece now. You know, it wasn't very long ago, and most of us will remember this, where if you used an art material, and we all use glass, that's what our group is, we're glass artists, if you did something pragmatic, let's say, if you did something functional, there was such a bias against people who did this sort of thing. And it wasn't that long ago. Most of us lived through that. And when we see a piece like your clock, we understand, you know, and this group has certainly been instrumental in helping to break down that prejudice and that bias and all the barriers on it. And when you see a piece like this, you know, it gives me such a feel-good feeling, because it says, yes, it's functional, but it's also an art piece. And there's no shame in the game of living with functional work that is also art. I mean, anybody looking at this sees it's an art. I can recognize this as an art piece. And just keep doing what you're doing, Sherry. It's a great piece.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'd like to put in that Bauhaus artists did a lot of stuff that was functional as well, textiles and clocks and so on. And the distinctions were not as great. And this reminds me of some of that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
I'd like to say something about the other piece, the piece with the tree. I think this is terrific, because what you're doing is pushing the edge of something. We see a lot of glass, we see a lot of art. I've been particularly inspired this pandemic on the internet at looking at what people have been doing with fiber, because there have been, fiber has been part of so many, used in a different ways. There's somebody who is spray painting lace patterns on buildings someplace in Europe. I mean, the idea of fiber being connected with other things, a woman's artwork being connected with other things. And here, this is the first time I've seen glass and fiber done in such a kind of painterly way. And I think it's just great. I think you're chipping the edge of stuff. I love it.
Oh, thank you. I'm also thinking about trying to do other things where I have images on the glass and then I put them together in like a tapestry. So we'll see how that goes.
Can't wait to see where this evolves. Lori, sorry.
Hi.
Lori.
Hi, thank you so much. I've only been part of the NCAGD since February, so it's so nice to meet you all. Anyway, both of my bouquets have the same inspiration and motivation. My artwork is actually motivated by the people I serve day to day. I actually work with victims of domestic violence, and I work to help empower them so they can find hope and see the light ahead of them in their own lives. And it's been very bleak during COVID and very difficult. So with glass, not only is it a personal outlet for me, but I enjoy seeing how all the pieces come together to make something beautiful. some of the glass, I mean, as you all know, we start with it just comes in tiny pieces and shards, like the little Fred, and other of the pieces start as more beautiful, colorful, larger sheets of glass that we cut down to shape. Just like the women and children I work with, when they come to me, they feel broken and often in pieces. But I remind them that they have great beauty as well as the pieces that they come to me in. With glass, there's this amazing transformation, just like the people I work with. And with glass, we see it through cutting, grinding, creating shapes and designs, melting pressure and heat. There's so many new possibilities. So each panel is really a symbol of windows of light and illuminating darkness with hope.
Thank you. These pieces are spectacular. They're
Thanks. And that, oh yeah.
This piece, yes, this piece here, when we were hanging it, we put it in the window. I think you might have intended it to be in the window, but
Yeah.
this has to be hung in the window because this particular piece in the sunlight, when I came in on Saturday morning, this piece sparkles. I just can't explain. And I couldn't take a picture. It just didn't work. But this piece sparkles. It comes out like star sparkling when the sun was on it from the backlit. So you have to work with that somehow, but it was terrific.
Thank you. Well, I'm a professional harpist in my other spare time, so I'm repurposing my musician skills with making glass petals with my fingers. Anyway, this one is really the same thing. Last fall, when COVID was very dark, I was in one of the shelters that we had evacuated due to COVID and put our clients other places. And I just had such a powerful feeling that the shelters are just Gettysburgs for the women's terrible state that they're going through when they come to us. And I have such respect for their resilience and their strength. And so really a lot of the work that I do is a celebration of the human spirit in their fight for freedom and the limitless possibilities that they have for themselves as they fight their way through that.
I love all the different elements that you have put into this, and it looks like you made so many different kinds of flowers to create this bouquet that just, it's really so alive with the movement of the stringers and all the different shapes of the petals.
Thank you.
I'd like to speak to Lori for a second.
Go ahead.
Hi, this is Andrew Lang, Lori.
Hi, Andrew.
I know you just joined the Guild, and I wanted to say how nice it was to see your work. I especially love the Unforgettable. It's a real beauty. But it's good to have you with us.
Thank you. It's good to see you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you all in person as COVID lets up a little bit. So thank you for letting me be a part of your group.
Thank you so much. We're so glad to have you with us. Oh, my piece. This piece is from the ashes. I was thinking in this piece, I actually was using the idea of the fires in California, particularly like Paradise, California, and how the resilience of those people and how they have to completely rebuild their lives. It kind of ties into what Lori was saying. But just this idea of the beauty of, putting your life back together and needing to use the community around you to support you. And the second piece, I don't know that it really fits with the United We Stand theme, but I was just interested in trying. I've been doing a lot of drop bases, and I've been trying to use different shaped molds to try to get these holes in pieces. I think it's somewhat inspired by Michelle Rubin's pieces, her portal pieces, and I really liked getting those extra dips in pieces so they weren't all they're not symmetrical, and then a lot of times I would let them fall all the way so that they were hollow at the bottom. And so anyways, I just wanted to combine these pieces again or together and then slump them all into a vase.
Yeah, go ahead, Sue. I wanted to say something about the ashes. Go ahead.
Yeah, the triple drop vase, it looks like a flower. It is stunningly gorgeous. It just pops off the shelf, Becky.
Thanks.
Becky, did you say you made each of these individually and then put them back together and redrop them?
Yes. Yeah.
Amazing. It's fabulous.
Thanks. So each one of those really started out as it's Tecta with powder on them, basically like a 6x6 square of Tecta. Then I worked with powders and different sizes of frit. So I had 3 different ones that I dropped in different shaped molds, or dropout basically molds. And then I laid them on top of each other with an extra ring on the top of the dropout mold to let them, the petals fall over the top.
Wow. Brilliant.
Becky, I think at United We Stand is absolutely perfect. You've united different pieces that might not otherwise go together. And this piece stands on its own.
Thanks. Thank you. Yeah. Right.
Not to take away from the triple drop vase, I would go back to the other piece. When we were hanging this, it's a very strong piece. This doesn't look as I can't find the words, but it hangs nicely. It looks good. It has great colors, but in person, on the wall, when the light comes from around the corner or just kind of lights it up, it looks like fire. It's really, really nice. It's so much stronger in person. So I hope during the show that's at the gallery, if things let up and you can go to the gallery, I think a lot of these pieces look great in these photographs that we are looking at now, but in person, a lot of them are just incredibly, so much better.
I think even as a picture right now, this is incredibly dramatic.
Oh,
really,
in person?
Yeah.
It's really striking, really.
It's a really powerful piece, Becky.
It is. Very much.
Yeah.
Becky, I find it bleak and beautiful, and it moves me.
Thank you. Thanks. I appreciate it. Sue Somerville.
Okay, unmuted. Okay, so this piece, our show is 2 months long, which is so awesome, May and June. So Memorial Day is happening during that time. And our theme, Jeannie and I, when we came up with a theme for the show, really was a jumping off point for artists. So this particular piece honors my father-in-law, who was a Top Gun. He was a naval aviator, flew off the USS Enterprise, and this is inspired by a patch of his from a mission called Patron 9, where they actually flew over the North Pole. So it's got the Navy anchor, the Navy wings, the Earth, the North Pole there with the barbershop pole, and a rainbow, and then, of course, mines. So there you go. So that's what that piece is.
It sparkles when it's in real light.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I used a lot of glue chip glass in it, so it's got more dimension than this photo happens to show. But thank you, Andrew. And this piece, okay, so this was inspired by the pandemic. I really struggled coming up with a piece. I didn't start working on this till like March 1st, and our delivery date was like March 20th. So I really had to crank it out. But I grew up in Maryland, and I grew up hiking the Billy Goat Trail along the Potomac River. And that is a 2-hour strenuous hike And then at the end of it all, during the hike, you hit the precipice. You can echo your voice down the river gorge. It is just so amazing. But then when you come back, you're walking along the canal. It's just this 20-minute easy walk along the canal. And I just reflected on how, life has been so challenging during the pandemic. It's hard, but it's worth it. And anyway, so that's what inspired this piece.
This is my two pieces are kind of literal, shall we say, red, white, and blue. For United We Stand. And this little bowl was, I took a class at Weiser, where else, on the batik technique. And so I was just fiddling with the different powders that you put or you sprinkle over the top and then get them wet, and putting in a design not only for the stars, which are obviously emblematic of our flag, but also our hearts, because eventually we all come back to love of country and things like that. So that's that one. The second piece is actually more fanciful, again, red, white, and blue, but Summertime Delights. These were all things that we like to eat during the summertime and with the sun and all that. And I was experimenting with different layers on top of layers that weren't complete layers and things like that. And so, the things that we like in the summertime are watermelon over in the upper right-hand quadrant, the ice cream and cone and popsicles, clearly strawberries, all under the summer sun. So it's just a kind of a whimsical, fanciful, silly piece that I had fun making.
So much fun. How did you take the bites out?
Ring saw.
I wondered.
And the bites for the ice cream cone and the popsicle, that was ring saw, as was the bite out of the watermelon.
Okay, this is my piece called my Old Chinese Vase. The inspiration for this is the peacock room in blue and white at the Freer Gallery, which, if you've been there, you go into a room that was created by Whistler, I believe, and you're surrounded by Chinese imported vases on bamboo, what looks to be bamboo shelves that are gilded in gold leaf or something like that. And so I wanted something that would be reminiscent of that. So I used a stencil, just a commercial stencil for the wallpaper, so to speak, and found many different inspirations for different shapes of vases. This is just one piece of 4 that I have that are different shapes. And then I used just a paste of blue tack and glass powder to kind of make a paste that I could use to apply to something that would look like it was painted decorations on these Chinese vases, and then used the powder to make shadows for these cylindrical type forms. And it's in a sort of a pseudo bamboo frame. That's the story on that one. I think I also just wanted to mention how nice all the pieces looked in the Artists United Gallery, and what a wonderful space that is for this. And I'm grateful to the hosts there for allowing us to have a show there. So it was obviously a great place for it.
Debbie, before you leave this piece, did you say you painted it with your thick paste. Did you do it freeform?
Oh yeah, sure. It was more daubing it. I used a palette knife for the most part to just daub it where I thought it ought to go.
So did you?
And it stayed put. It didn't smear when it was in the kiln or anything. It worked out really well.
So did you do basically the background, a full stencil across that, and then come back and do the vase on top?
No, I did. I used a commercial stencil, and then I masked off with blue tape the shape of that I wanted for the vase. I thought about doing it the way you were suggesting, but it just wasn't going to work. And then when I did the background first, and then I would tape the background so that I could apply the paste.
Nice.
Back in.
Oh, thanks. Thanks. It's fun. All right. I'm going to stop sharing. And if anybody has any other comments they'd like to make, I'd invite you to just chime in.
One quick question. Is the Artisans United Gallery open for visitors?
The answer is yes. Tuesday through Saturday, 10 to 4.
Because it certainly would be great to see some of these things in real life.
I'm
Claire,
going to
would
be
you
there
like to speak
Saturday.
up?
Sorry?
I was asking Claire if she would like to speak up. She's the gallery director.
Hi, this is Claire. In terms of visiting the gallery, as Jean said, we're open 10 to 4 Tuesday through Saturday, but we can also make arrangements for an appointment for someone who, if you can't come during those hours, we're happy to accommodate Sunday or an evening or some other time that is convenient for you. And we're really delighted to have all of your beautiful pieces in the gallery. As everyone has been saying, they just look terrific. And it's a delight to go in every time to see all the beautiful things. So I do hope that folks here and other members of your guild will be able to come by and bring your friends. Let them know about the gallery, because as many people say, we're a hidden gem because we're back in the woods in a park in Annandale, which means that we don't get a lot of foot traffic, although these days there's a lot of people hiking in the park who come by, and if they don't have too many big dogs, they do come in oftentimes. So it's a really nice place, and I hope everybody will get a chance to come and visit.
May I mention that some of your guild members apparently don't live in the area, and you could reach out to Claire to arrange a possible FaceTime with her to be able to see the gallery through FaceTime.
This is Robin. I'm new to glass, and I thank all of you for your inspiration. And I'm going to be in that area on Tuesday, so I'll see at least somebody there.
Great. Well, please tell your friends. It would be awesome if you could, put on your Facebook page a note about coming to the gallery, and put up something on the guild's Facebook page. We'd love it if you guys would chime in. If you go see the works, or you want to comment on them, or you take a picture when you're there, it'd be great. Post it on our Facebook page.
And this is Claire again. I'd like to mention how wonderful your page on your website is regarding the show. That's just outstanding.
Thanks to Jen Moffat for that.
Hi, this is Anne Pemberton, and thank you for organizing it. And I enjoyed seeing it online as well, and being here. Thanks very much. Gorgeous work.
Thanks for joining us.
I'd like to say thank you too. This was a nice treat to be able to have this kind of opportunity at this time, but hopefully it will open it up soon and we can see more things in person.
Thanks. Anybody else want to chime in before we sign off here? Again, I just want to thank Sue Somerville and Jean Lee for putting in all the hours they did on putting this show together. And I think they did a fabulous job. Thanks everybody for participating. today.
Thank